Hello and welcome to the debate. I'm your host Sana Maqbool with you at PTV World. In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at two important stories. The first is in reference to Pakistan's fight against terrorism and, of course, in the ways in which we have seen that these attacks impact Pakistan and, of course, how Pakistan has been unfortunately bearing the brunt of the war against terrorism for quite some time now, even though we have successfully launched the operations against terrorism and achieved great success over that as well. But at the same time, we know that since the U.S. troop withdrawal in Afghanistan and the Afghan Taliban regime in place, we've seen even a spike in terrorist activities once again, particularly in provinces of Balochistan and KPK. And then we've also seen that there are regional spoilers, including those coming in from Iran and India, that have also heightened the situation. And now, of course, we've also seen that attacks have been taking place against Pakistanis in other regions, and most recently, of course, in Iran, where 8 Pakistani were targeted, and they were workers in Sistan Balochistan province of Iran, which the Balochistan National Army, the BNA, has taken responsibility of. And of course, this is something we've seen happening last year as well in January, where about 9 Pakistani workers were also killed in a similar fashion. So we're going to be taking a look at what does that mean in terms of the ways in which we need a response from countries like Iran, and then, of course, cooperation against terrorism across the board and within the region. That is going to be our focus in the first segment of the show today. Our next one is going to be taking a look at the issue of the climate crisis in Pakistan and how, of course, this impacts us and the ways in which it also targets agricultural areas. And we've seen, of course, in the past that in 2022, most recently, we've been hit by the floods in Pakistan that have resulted in this conversation around climate change justice and, of course, climate financing, in which a number of pledges have been made. But really, the kind of responses that are required still remain to be seen. At the same time, of course, there are a number of measures that Pakistan needs to be taking on its own front, particularly in other ways that climate change is manifesting itself, including drought-like situations in agricultural areas, windstorms, and most recently now the heat wave that has begun from today, which experts have warned will last for about a week. And of course, this is something that impacts not just the people, but also in the ways that we're going to manage issues such as water scarcity and food security. So that's going to be our focus in the second segment of the show today. For this and more, as always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analysts Farrukh Pitafi and Raja Faisal, and we've also been joined online by Brigadier Retired Mr. Nawaz. Thank you very much, Haris, for joining us and being a part of the discussion. And I'm going to start with you because I want your take on our fight against terrorism, and you can give us more perspective in terms of how we have been able to fight this menace in the past and where we stand today. While we look at the ways in which a lot of this is emerging from Afghanistan, we've seen also in recent attacks in Pakistan the linkages and the nexus that exists between Afghanistan, Iran, and India, and the involvement in terms of operational support coming in from Afghanistan, and then, of course, from spoiler elements in Iran and financing from India. There is a lot, of course, that is going on that Pakistan has been putting forward the evidence of for quite some time now. But I want your take in terms of what does this mean in terms of how we're going to be fighting this menace now, and what sort of areas can we look at for regional collaboration?
Sana, this is a very serious situation because initially we were fighting towards Afghanistan and Indian all onslaught for that side, and that, of course, BLA, BLF, BNA, then Majid Brigade, Kharijis, and then along with that ISIS, Khorasan, and Indian Kabul embassy was the main epicenter. From there, these things were emanating. But now you must have seen about a year back also when there was a Indian Iranian, they came and they attacked inside Pakistan. Then Pakistan retaliated and killed those persons. And then ultimately, it was surprising to everyone that they were the missing persons. And Mubarak Islamabad admitted that we want to bring back their bodies, and they are the so-and-so person as well in the list of missing persons. But the point is, this is very serious situation. And I'm sure Pakistan has called the Consul General of Iran in foreign embassy, and they've called them to show a lot of concern about it, and they have promised to find out the culprits, and they are doing their best. We hope that Iran will cooperate Pakistan, and soon I feel and we expect that along the line of control, both sides, international border, Iran will operate on that side, whether they are the Balochistan National Army or other persons, organizations sitting over, they have to carry out operation. And inside Pakistan territory, Iran's, the Jandola group and those who are fighting against Iran, if they are in Pakistan, so we have to carry out simultaneous operation, but with a lot of mutual cooperation, because we want to have the best relations with Iran at this time, and our concentration to remain toward Afghanistan. But the important thing is Pakistan is fighting single-handedly. Americans had delegation is in Pakistan. They have appreciated Pakistan effort fighting for terrorism, and I think they appreciate the effort, all, particularly Chief Army Staff and Pakistan military, what all we are doing for it. We handed over Sharifullah also, he was a 100% there. But the problem is, United Nations says that 24 terrorist organizations are in Afghanistan. And Balochistan National Army had accepted the responsibility of killing these 8 innocent labor force in Iran, and they had gone out just to earn livelihood for their families. It is very unfortunate. The point is, now we have to have a multi-pronged strategy, and that is very important. One, we have to talk to one government and clear terms, loud and clear, what Pakistan expect and what they are required to do. Otherwise, we have other options, and we have said we have to use the technology also. Number two, Pakistan must have spoken to Americans delegation which were here. Jack Bergman and his team, 3%, they appreciated Pakistan efforts, and they discussed the regional cooperation, the military defense related matters of mutual interest. So we must have shown our concern that what India is doing, creating problem for Pakistan. And India, obviously we all know it is a global terrorist country. We know Canada, what is happening, what happened in America and UK and Australia. So there is no doubt about it. But then we have to go for regional cooperation. I've been last time in so many programs I've said that we have to have a security umbrella or security conference. Maybe Pakistan become the host, and we call Russia, Central Asia, China, Turkey, Iran, and Pakistan, and we sit down and make a comprehensive strategy how to push Afghanistan that they should stop supporting these terrorist organizations. Issue is America is giving financial support monthly to the Afghan interim government. China is taking on minor middle, they're giving a lot of money to them, and that money is being distributed among the terrorist organization also. So this we have to speak to American and also even Chinese, that you don't have to give them financial support, because then they're not worried. We talk about their human rights violations. They talk about it's not inclusive inclusive government. There is no ethnic balanced government. There are no Hazaras, no Tajiks, no Uzbeks, only Pashtun, 44%. And then within this one Taliban also they were ripped. So these are the problems that Pakistan is facing. So we have to talk to them, and we have talked to them very loud and clear. What all we have suffered because the way American left Afghanistan, left in abundance weapons, ammunition, trucks, APCs, and that is fallen into the hands of all these terrorist organizations. And now the Pakistan is facing, whenever there is operation, when there is terrorist activity, we find all Americans made weapons, knife-and devices, latest weapons and equipment. And they have left Pakistan alone to fight all this. You are appreciating, but then we need the support. At least we need a coalition support fund. We're spending a lot of money over there. We need weapons and equipment to fight it out of there, and we are going to support everyone, because Pakistan is trying to control the global terrorism from Afghanistan. That is what is more important. It affects everyone. So I think here we have to have a wholesome strategy, security strategy, and for this reason.
Right. Faisal, I want your take on that as well, particularly in terms of the recent attack in Iran and in the ways in which, of course, we're looking at these collaborative strategies. And I want your take in terms of what does that mean in terms of when we talk about these evidences. We've, of course, put that forward on different platforms, and we have, of course, engaged with authorities in different countries as well. And these activities and these banned outfits and the support still continues. And so I want your take in terms of our immediate neighborhood, the ways in which that we're really looking at these elements operating inside different countries. What options does Pakistan have when it fights them?
Yeah, there are different options for Pakistan. Of course, when it comes to Afghanistan, Pakistan is obviously applying all of its options of course, negotiations through diplomatic means and through, of course, the local jirga means as well. And when it comes to, of course, Pakistan applying the force, because when we talk about the terrorism, it is definitely originating from Afghanistan, from within Afghanistan, and Afghan Taliban are not doing anything to, of course, probe it and to stop it. And of course, they are having good relations with the TTP, and few of their Taliban TTAs, they are actually hand and glove with them, and they are the ones who are actually facilitating them, and financing is taking place on the behest of our eastern neighbor India. And India is, of course, in recent past we have seen that of course they have created a sort of a good relation with the TTA sitting in Kabul, and the whole mechanism is in the favor of TTP, and they are of course active in Pakistan, and that's how Pakistan is of course fighting against them. We have seen that Pakistan has used the kinetic means as well, and they have hit their hideouts as well in past, where we have seen that TTA has been outcrying about it, but they have to of course understand that they have been given enough time to deal with this menace, but they are not coming up with any strategy. So Pakistan has to do whatever it is having in its hands. When it comes to Iran, it's entirely different. Of course, we know that the bilateral intelligence sharing that do exist, and in past, of course, both of the countries, they have been cooperating. We know last year, of course, when it came to, there was a misunderstanding between both of the countries, and when they hit within the territories of Pakistan, in response to that, of course, when Pakistan hit Sarawan, the place where Pakistan conducted a surgical strike, of course, after that we had seen that the Iranians, the statement which came from Iran, they endorsed that whoever got hit at that place, all of them, they were of course alien to them, and they were not Iranian nationals, which is an evidence itself that the people who are considered on the roads of Pakistan by all of these protesters, that they are the missing people, they were actually hiding there, and that's where they were attacked. And when it comes to this particular attack, this is being conducted by, be it BNP, BLA, or BNA, BLA, or all of these outfits, including Jeshul Adal, that is being highlighted by AFP as well. All of these people, they are consisting upon the same people that are being considered as missing people. If anyone wants to find them, I think they need to contact anyone within BLA and within BLF, and they need to contact Jeshul Adal, because if they are still using their real names, I am pretty much sure all of the people who are considered as missing people by all of these protesters, they will find them there outside of the country working somewhere, and of course time to time come to Pakistan to be involved in terrorist activities in Pakistan. And if they find anyone, any Pakistani working class Pakistani, a skilled person who is in Iran just to earn his living, I mean, these people who were gunned down, they were obviously mechanics who were living there in a workshop. On the first floor of the workshop, they were living there, and in the workshop, of course, they were earning their living, and they were considered in the whole city. They were considered as the professional mechanics, and people, they really of course had a huge respect for these people, because they were Pakistanis, though they were Pakistanis, but they were having a good name in Iran in terms of their expertise in different engines, even the diesel engine. I have been talking to a journalist from Iran, and he was saying that these people were having a huge respect amongst the locals. Reason being, they were having reasonable rates, and they were very professional when it comes to their work. And these people getting gunned down by these monsters, of course, it is an evidence itself that they are intentionally targeting Pakistanis who are even living abroad. And I think I'm pretty much sure that the intelligence services of Iran and the security services of Iran, they will be extra cautious for the future, but this particular case they will be probing deep into it, and people who are considered as missing persons by all of these protesters, I think Iranian intelligence, they need to contact them as well to get a list from them and find them inside Iran. They must be harboring, a few of them they must be harboring still in Iran, and I think they need to nib on them, and the same list should be provided to Taliban as well in the Kabul, because these missing people, there will be few of them, they will be there as well, because in recent past it has been indicated that TTP, BLA, BLF and ISIS Khorasan, they have been working in tandem. And when it comes to creating havoc in Pakistan for the Pakistani nationals, of course all of them, they have been coordinating with each other, and they have been carrying out all of these activities. So this is the whole scenario, and I think when it comes to Iran, Pakistan and Iran, both of them, they need to further improve their intelligence sharing, so that all of these activities, the heinous activities, they can be prevented for the future.
Right. And Farrukh, I want your take on that, on how much of that is possible. While of course that expectation is there, or that demand is there, we have seen, historically speaking, what sort of contribution has existed, and in the ways in which we have been able to achieve any success on that front or not. And so I want your take in terms of whether or not, when we talk about these countries who have been shared evidence with in terms of these activities carrying on, what is the problem in terms of the ways in which we are still encountering these difficulties of not being able to collaborate on this front. And then even if when we talk about the ways in which this impacts the region, there's also of course countries outside of the region such as the US that play an important role. How much of that collaboration between Pakistan truly exists and can potentially exist for such threats?
Right, Sana, thank you very much for the question. First of all, one question to everybody who is watching. What kind of monster kills innocent, unarmed civilians, especially people who are hardworking and who are have not actually caused any provocation? This is the textbook definition of hate, and it is a hate crime also, while it is terrorism, while it is so many other things. Now you have to realize which group might be responsible. You spoke about BNA, and then we have seen BLA also, the way they actually targeted Jafar Express. But you have to go beyond this. You have to look at the roots of hate. What countries have unrestrained hate towards Pakistan? First of all, the mind goes to India. And India's problem is that it has been doing this for quite some time. When you read their writings of their former spooks, their hatred towards Pakistan is palpable. I mean, it is one thing to hate your enemy as a country or the state, but to hate ordinary people, to hate kids, women, children, unarmed civilians, that is something mind-boggling, and that has been going on. So I remind you that every time some high-ranking delegation from the US comes to the region, this is what happens. When Jafar Express episode took place, at that time, America's new DNI, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was in Delhi. And this time also there's a delegation in Pakistan, and you saw this happening. The question is, why would that be? It reminds me of their modus operandi. If you remember, when President Donald Trump went to Delhi, at that time what was happening on Delhi streets? Genocide of Muslims in broad daylight, because they called it Delhi riots, although the attackers were only extremists, and on the other side, on the receiving end, it were mostly Muslim children or Muslim men, right? So that continued. So this is essentially what they call pushing boundaries, that every time this happens, it becomes new normal for Washington and all powers that, okay, even if you are here, this will happen and you'll have to tolerate it. So they have once again done exactly the same thing. Now the question in my mind, two lines have killed Pakistan, to be honest. They keep killing us. One is Durand line, that is Pakistan-Afghanistan border. The other one is Goldsmith line, which is the Pakistan-Iran border. And my understanding is that the original concept was that we are going to fence the border not only on the Durand line or Pakistan-Afghan border, but also on Pakistan-Iran border. It is important, Sana, because there were episodes like Hardotabad, somebody came and somebody was present there and something happened, unaccounted for, no documents, a third country's citizen just wandering off into Pakistan. You have to control this bit first, because countries are supposed to have boundaries, and those boundaries are controlled. Even America, the most generous countries, quote unquote, and the country that has been receiving so many people, the tired, the broken, they are reasserting their boundaries. So we are in far worse shape, and we should be asserting this. Regarding Iran, my concern is that while we keep on asking for cooperation, we sort of lost Iran's cooperation, actual cooperation, when in early 2000s, India and Iran actually started moving together. That was also the time when the sanctions were actually being imposed, but India kept on buying billions of dollars worth of oil through escrow accounts. So even now, when it comes to Irani hardliners, they don't actually look at you very kindly. Why would they? They think that you are the enemy, right? And that's why they have started working. And I don't mean the hard state. I mean the hawks within the hawks that actually have been seeing Pakistan as a threat. So your cooperation might not be there. My concern is that Pakistanis should not go to the places where they can risk their lives. On one side, of course, we need a massive upgrade. For example, it was great news when Jafar Express was restored, but if you have ever actually traveled on that express or in that train, you will know that it is in very shabby condition. Why can't we have a better, train that is so secure that people can commute within the country, especially when high security officials or personnel also move in. Similarly, if there are people working in Iran, under what agreement, what exactly is happening? If there is an agreement, then Iran is liable to that, and Pakistan can take this matter even to international arbitration. But I don't think, I'm not going to hold my breath that Iran is going to find somebody or help you out. They have leverage. They see it as leverage. So anybody who has leverage, why would they give up? They are not Pakistanis who would readily actually just throw it away. But this is how things are.
Right. But really, Harris, I want your take on this as well, because in terms of the ways in which we are, of course, looking at fighting terrorism, there's also a lot that needs to be taken cognizance of in terms of the options and advances that Pakistan can possibly make. While, of course, there is the possibilities or potential ways in which we can engage the regional countries or other international partners, there is, of course, also limitations to that front that we've seen historically. So I want your take on whether or not there can be any other options available when what we're met with is a lack of willingness or capacity or just outright refusal of cooperation.
You see, it's another most important thing in Pakistan-Iran relationship. We have to ensure that they remain cordial, number one. Then we must sit down, both countries, with political will and mental resolve, that we have to ensure that Iran border remains peaceful. There is no infiltration either sides from that side, and we carry out joint operation with sharing of intelligence information, and we sort this matter out. And Iran has to sort out with Indians also, because Indian presence is over there. And it is not possible that without the support and connivance of Indian raw, this incident has occurred. We should be very clear about it. Second, that it's not possible. We as a nation should also be united together. We must have a political consensus, which still I find we are not there. Then element of national powers all have to be together, geared up together. With illegal spectrum, we've talked about it. That has also been taken into account, because financial terrorism is a main source of financing these terrorist organizations, and then they carry out these operations. Along with this, Pakistan has to explain Russia and China that in this region, this terrorism can go and its followers can go to this whole region. And along with this, then this can be spreading around the globally also, because India is doing really global terrorism and global financial terrorism, and Americans know it. But the only thing is they look towards other side. We have to make a regional security paradigm. In that, we have to make a security strategy. We sit down, because this terrorism of 24 terrorist organizations from Afghanistan can spread towards Russia, Central Asia, China, and Pakistan is already a victim. And Iran can also find some time when Americans they come and create any problem over there. So why can't we make a joint strategy? This is very important. We have to tell China that China wants CPEC, China wants and Kashgar to Gwadar 8 to 9 days traveling, and then the whole world is available for their trade. And like same goes, so if Afghanistan is peaceful, then connectivities from Central Asia and Russia, and again they go to the warm water. Why we are not doing it? And then we have to be proactive now. This is very important. We have to go and knock the door of OIC. We have to tell the United Nations also we must go. We expose India to our all ambassadors in Islamabad. Foreign office should call them and brief them what India is doing it. And they're not worried. They're very open about it. They say, yes, we are doing it. We want that Balochistan should be separated from Pakistan, God forbid. So they are doing all things and nobody is going to check them. Because Americans look Pakistan through Indian prism. That's the problem. But India says, they say yes. So we are having a really difficult time. Pakistan, and we have minor million forum, recently investment forum. Then now that all overseas are there in a convention center, they have come to Pakistan. We are trying to create a soft image of Pakistan, but then one odd incident creates a hard image. Then how foreign investment would come to Pakistan when their life and property is not safe, their investment is not safe. So we have to go miles ahead with taking all precautions that all these regional countries have to sitting together and find a solution. Don't leave Pakistan alone. Americans have left Pakistan. Please understand, they don't want CPEC, they don't want Gwadar port to be operationalized, and they don't want Pakistan to have economic prosperity. They want Pakistan should going at a normal pace and being controlled by IMF World Bank, because you're a nuclear country, you're an Islamic country, your army is battle hardened, your geostrategic location is very good, and if you have economic prosperity through Gwadar port, then you will take your decision in the national interest. This is the issue. I think we all understand it. That's why Afghanistan being kept volatile. If United Nations says 24 terrorist organizations are there, then what United Nations is doing? They're watching Tamasha, that's all. Or they should tell America, you have done it, please go and support Pakistan. We have lost $100 billion, $50 billion. We've lost around 80 to 90,000 civilian refugees got shaheed. We are a victim of terror. We're fighting it alone. We have supported American Russia and putting Russia, and then
Brigadier Sahab, there's another question that Farrukh wants to ask.
There's a follow-up question. I understand what you're saying, and of course it comes right from your heart. But here's the question. Pakistan has been fighting the war on terror for over 20 years now. And Afghan issue has been there for even longer. Now the question is, all these solutions that you mentioned, like approaching Iran, approaching other regional powers like Russia and China especially because we work so closely, and then escalating this matter to the OIC and then to the UN. Do you think that we have not tried this? Or if we have tried this, why is it that it hasn't worked in the past? And if it hasn't, why would it work this time?
You see, we have been trying it, we are still trying it, but it is not made public. It is not created hue and cry. The Indian media see what is happening. How they're talking about what now India is this Bangladesh and China is doing. We all know on this chicken's neck how that media is working. We find all peaceful media. This is the pitfall in our system. See there, EU info lab they claim, but then you see how their websites are working. So we have to create. I don't see on media talking about these issues. Why not we are taking here PDB word or one or the topic rest all politics, nothing else. They should be media should be told to carry at three, four media houses should be taking these subjects and highlighting these issues. But then
Uh,
they should
I,
be
I share the sentiment with you when it comes to media's incompetence. But my question was regarding working with Iran, working with other neighbors, and taking the matter to OIC and the UN. Why do you think that it hasn't worked in past, and why do you think it will work now?
even if it hasn't worked, we should continue. We must strive hard. At least some days, some years will listen to this and they might act. But the only thing is we have to take stock of our own position. If we see we are alone, then the whole nation, political consensus, and all elements of national power, we have to fight with the illegal spectrum. At least we can do this. This is in our control. We talk about Adbes Takam, we could not start. Chief Army Staff many times has said, we will keep fighting, we will keep sacrificing, we will keep shahadats, but it will not end because the infiltration will keep coming. So we as a nation have to take all these things. Government has to show a lot of more positive response. The lip service is not required now. You need to fight these all latest weapon equipment which is with the terrorist organization. How we are coping all these things. A lone army cannot do it. It has to be multi-pronged strategy. We have to talk to Iran. We have to talk to interim government of Afghanistan. Along with that, we have to, within own country, we must have a political consensus. The government has to support, and then we have to go for capacity building. Only then we can do it. So at least we should fight it out and then make this subject alive. After, let me tell you, these people are killed after exactly 2 weeks. We will all forget. Nothing has happened. Again, we wait for another incident. This is a pitfall in our system.
Okay, Haris, one last question. Whenever we come across this notion that Pakistan is, of course, pledging to explore Pakistan more, because if we talk about Balochistan and if we talk about the northern Pakistan, of course, the FATA region, these two areas, they are considered as floating on the minerals. And whenever Pakistan seeks the resolve of all of its economic obviously problems, then it goes towards exploring more and more, and of course, getting an access to them. As soon as we head towards that, suddenly we see that there is a rise in the terrorism. Can we say that it has a lot to do with Pakistan not finding an economic solution, and they want to keep us busy with terrorism and not finding any solutions?
Faisal, it is a very good question. Let me tell you. I wanted to highlight it, and you have asked me a good question. You see, now that Balochistan is in the world radar, particularly Europe and America. After Ukraine war, you see how Americans have gone there, $500 billion war reparations. Now Ukraine has agreed. Balochistan is a really heaven as far as the national resources are concerned. If Sistan province of Balochistan can have a lot of oil and everything, and the slope is towards Pakistan, you can well imagine. So they want Pakistan should remain embroiled in these terrorist activities. We should be able to explore these things. Now, recently, what we have a $9 million investment forum, it was really a success. The way Brig Gold talk about what are the resources over there, and after 2028 they will start taking out gold and all those things, and they will sort of delegate, they were attracted, they were interested to go for investment. Government has to do all things simultaneously. The military is fighting, defense ministry and army is fighting against terrorism. But then what are the other ministry doing? Everybody has to do their own task. They've got their own field of work. They have all different responsibility. Balochistan, we have to send our strongest this ministerial team, federal government, to go to Quetta, stay even for 1 month. Talk to the national political leadership over there. Please bring them into the mainstreams. I don't see even one MNA MP from a national political party. They are in MNA, National Assembly or national political provincial assemblies. Likewise, see what is their reservations. Find a solution. This has to be one-pronged strategy, political reconciliation, where we have to do all these things. If there's industry we want, education, go and do. 30-40 billion rupees is a peanut, not a big deal for Balochistan. Please go and do it. Today, should be top priority. Balochistan peaceful means Pakistan will be flying in the air with economic prosperity. This is the answer for Pakistan. We know it is full of trillions of dollars in my mineral reserve. Even Sindh has a lot of granite and all those mineral resources. But the only thing is how we explore, how we interact bring the outside countries inside Pakistan, and then how we give the incentive. And they should not take the raw material. All industry should be installed and the finished product should be going out so that we draw maximum benefit. This is the lifeline for Pakistan. I think for this, government of Pakistan has to take extra measure, and government is alive now. I know they're alive. They're planning to do all the things. The early, the better it is.
Right. Thank you very much, Brigadier Harris Nawaz, for joining us and being a part of the discussion today. We're going to now move on to our next segment that takes a look at climate change issues in Pakistan and, of course, in the different ways it's affecting us, including drought-like situations, water scarcity, issues with food security, and, of course, the heat wave. And Faisal, I want your take on that first. In terms of the ways in which we're experiencing heat starting from today is what's predicted that's going to last till about the end of the week. Of course, the summers still approaching, and we've seen in the previous years as well that such warnings have continued to come and have increased as time goes by. So I want your take in terms of when we take a look at measures to reduce climate change and in the ways that we want to act. There is, of course, the international climate justice that we're fighting for. But what are we doing at home about it? What are the measures that we're taking at home in terms of making use of these predictions and helping ourselves locally in terms of measures and mitigation steps that we can take?
Yeah, of course, Sana, when we talk about, early heat wave, that is going to be disastrous for Pakistan. Why? Because the early heat wave, obviously we should be considering it as a problem in coming days. Why? Because we have the glaciers and they will start melting early, and they would turn out to be another, God forbid, another flood this year. And when it comes to the heat wave this time, it's not only in Pakistan but of course in the Western countries as well. It has started showing that the heat is the kind of temperatures we are seeing in the Western countries as well and in Pakistan as well, it is going to be a disaster this time around. When it comes to what Pakistan has done so far, I think Pakistan has done its bit. When it comes to, of course, our carbon emissions, they are at the lowest. And at the same time, Pakistan has been, of course, improving by, growing more and more trees in Pakistan. In recent times, we have seen that there was a trend of even in the schools as well, the drive to grow more trees that has been everywhere in Pakistan. But when it comes to vulnerability, of course Pakistan is very vulnerable when it comes to we having the rivers, and in them rivers the water of course comes from some of the water comes from Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and in Indian side, and of course they very timely and aptly choose the time to push forward the flow towards Pakistan, and I always call it with a name, and that is of water terrorism. and this time around we are expecting that they would be mischievous enough this time around as well, when they will see that waters are already flowing from the Pakistan's glaciers, and they are creating a havoc in Pakistan's rivers. They at the same time they will push forward waters towards Pakistan as well, so to disrupt Pakistan's crops, Pakistan's livelihood of the people, and create floods in Pakistan to, of course, give a huge loss to Pakistan's economy. But at this hour, of course, we know that this trend of increasing temperatures, I think it is going to be disastrous, and Pakistan needs to be prepared for it, because when the time comes of July or the monsoon times, that would be very hard for Pakistan to control.
Right. And Farrukh, I want your take on what Faisal said in terms of us doing our best, and I want your take on whether or not we've truly done that, and particularly not just in terms of decisions by the government or relevant bodies, but also in terms of investing in people such as farmers, such as people who, of course, are using water on a daily basis, and the kind of culture that we need to inculcate when we talk about these issues. Have we really done our work there?
Right, Sarah, thank you very much. But just a quick reminder to everybody who is watching regarding Pakistan and South Asia's history. I mean, I remember back in college I had to write a paper on the fall of Indus civilization 3,000 years ago. And do you know what was the actual culprit? It wasn't Aryan invasion, it wasn't warfare, anything else. It was primarily bad irrigation systems, because they did not know. They ended up desiccating most of the land, arable land, and then they died out. So here's the fact. When it comes to conservation, what do you think actually works more? Compassion for the climate, or then greed? I think the way even in Islamabad people have been actually going for deforestation just to get a quick buck has been shameless, and it has been going on since my memory goes, right? Pakistan used to be full of forest cover 20 years ago, 30 years ago, before that even more, and now we hardly have any such place. Most of the places either people have just used it as timber, or then they have actually started building colonies there, right? Because of that, things have changed. But this climatic change, and particularly these heat waves, we have seen predictions in the past many years. Pakistan and India together are the 8th most vulnerable countries on the list of vulnerability. And remember, the first 7 are very small countries. So these are essentially the 2 most hit countries because of climate change. And sadly, because they cannot work together, predictions are there are going to be places in both these countries which are going to be unlivable in summers, right? Heat wave will be so hard hitting that people won't be able to stay there. India and Pakistan have to work together, and if they resort to what was said about water terrorism, it is only going to even further create chaos. And regarding our conservation efforts, Sana, there must be pilot projects, but I haven't seen substantial effort to educate farmers how to conserve or use water. Our water table keeps on declining, and we keep on destroying aquifers and water deposits.
And Sana, for the public at large, keep hydration level high for yourself.
Yeah, if it is extreme, then don't go out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Farrukh, and thank you, Faisal. And we really hope that there is more effort and investment made, particularly in terms of people and making them understand the urgency of the problem. But of course, we'll continue to endeavor in the right direction. That's all that we have from the debate today. We'll now see you tomorrow.